All right, so we got some Marvel delays, including Deadpool and Blade. We have Beetlejuice 2, which could possibly be in trouble. Tom Cruise wants to film in outer space. And we even get a Grinch horror movie. We got a lot to cover, so let's get started. Now, no sooner did we find out Wolverine is going to be in Deadpool 3, they're already pushing the date back. Now, this isn't a huge surprise. Marvel changes the release dates constantly. Nothing is really set in stone, probably until, I'd say, a few months before its release. So, originally, it looks like Deadpool 3 was set to release September 6th of 2024, and now they're pushing it back to November 8th of 2024. So, it's only 2 months, but it's a little bit of a pushback. We'll have to wait just that much longer. Now, the other one that's interesting is the Blade reboot. And this one, I really enjoyed the original Blade movies, and I'm kind of excited for this reboot. But this one's been running over so many speed bumps, especially with the director who walked off and a couple other odds and ends that I think they're having issues with, but I can't confirm it, so I'm not going to say anything about it. But the executive producer said that they are temporarily putting the entire project on pause until they can iron out all these issues. Now, the project was set to be released on November 3rd of 2023, and now it's being pushed all the way back to September 6th of 2024. I really hope they can get this ironed out and figure out their issues. Again, I'm a big fan of the Blade trilogy that was out, and I really, really want this to be a good movie, so I have my fingers crossed that the delays will be worth it. Now, one more release date I want to talk about is Spider-Man 4. Yes, we are going to get another Spider-Man. We kind of had an idea that was going to happen when Tom Holland renewed his contract. But honestly, I'm still having my issues with Tom Holland because he left MJ behind and he didn't come back for her at the end of No Way Home. So as far as I'm concerned, you got some unfinished business there, Spidey. But the next Spider-Man movie is set to release July 12th of 2024. So we got about a year and a half or so for this one. A little more than a year and a half, actually. Almost 2 years. Not a year and a half. I'm horrible with math. But anyway, we got another one coming. We'll talk more about it when we get more details. Now let's talk Beetlejuice 2, because obviously I'm a big fan of Beetlejuice. And this one, Gina Davis has actually talked about returning, but she has her concerns. Now, apparently she talked to People magazine about this, and they asked her if she would want to reprise her role, and she said yes. She said in quotes, "I want to play every character I've ever played again." Now, she has said that she is definitely would be on board for returning for Beetlejuice 2, but she has one major problem, and that is she doesn't believe that ghosts age. And her age now, obviously, she's a lot older than she was in the first one. So her response was, and I quote, "I have a feeling that ghosts don't age. How would they explain that they're older?" And of course, when they say they're talking about the Maitlands. They're going to be older, but I agree with her. Ghosts don't really age, I don't think. So how are you going to do that? Are we going to go with the de-aging process through CGI? But it is neat to see that she would be on board to return. But Beetlejuice 2 could also be in a little bit of trouble. It's currently being produced by Brad Pitt's production company Plan B. And according to Deadline, we've just found out that Brad Pitt has been looking into some options, possibly even selling the production company. So if that happens, what happens to Beetlejuice 2 or any other movies that they have been working on? Now, according to Deadline, it says it's been confirmed that a global independent investment bank, Moelis and Company, I hope I'm saying that right, was hired by Plan B 6 months ago to shop for possible investors. They heard that Plan B has numerous offers, but it's all exploratory right now. There's even a possible sale on the table. So this is very concerning for me because I'm really looking forward to Beetlejuice 2, and I'm hoping that, maybe he just goes the investor route and still goes through with Beetlejuice 2. But that said, would the investors change anything that he's currently working on? If he sells it, that may scrap the whole project. So I'm hoping none of that comes to pass and we can move forward with Beetlejuice 2. Again, Very, very excited for it, but now getting pretty worried. Now let's talk a little bit about Tom Cruise. Now this guy is just crazy. He does his own stunts. You've seen some of the stuff he does in Mission Impossible. We've seen what he's pulled off in Top Gun Maverick, which has been absolutely astonishing. And now he wants to film in outer space. This guy's crazy. Like, he has an unnamed space project right now, and that would require him to not only film in space, but he wants to be the first civilian to do a spacewalk outside of the International Space Station. That's crazy. I mean, the amount of training that astronauts have to go through, and I'm sure he would go through it. I would just think at his age, it would be a little bit crazy to attempt something like that, but considering the other attempts of things he's done, it doesn't really surprise me. But just because he's Tom Cruise, do we really think that NASA is going to allow this? Like, I understand filming in space and things like that, but for a civilian to do a spacewalk in order to just make a movie. Now, granted, Tom Cruise is going to pull in money with this movie. There's just no way around it. He always does. He's very good at making blockbuster movies. So the return is not the question. The question I have is, will NASA allow this? Tom Cruise can pull some serious strings. We know he's got a lot of pull in Hollywood, but this goes beyond Hollywood. We're talking NASA now, and this is a pretty big program. If he pulls this off, I'm going to be highly impressed. Make sure you're leaving your comments down below on everything we're talking about. And if you're enjoying the content so far, please do me a favor and drop a like on the video for me. It definitely does me a great service in the YouTube algorithm and helps me get more videos out to you. Now let's talk about our main headlining story, and that is we are going to get this coming Christmas, just 2 months from now, a Grinch horror movie. I can't believe this thing has been under wraps for so long, and I have not heard about this sooner. But think about this, a Grinch horror movie, it kind of makes sense. It makes way more sense than the Winnie the Pooh horror movie that we're getting, Blood and Honey. That just looks wonky, it looks cheap, and it's very much just going to be a comedy, I think, with blood. But the Grinch horror movie, think about the Jim Carrey one. He's the mean one. That's the whole basis of the original song. He's the mean one, Mr. Grinch. I'm not going to sing for you. Sorry, not going to do it. He's scaring kids off the mountaintop. He's stealing stuff. He's burning down the Christmas tree at the festival, and everything is just chaotic. Who's to say he doesn't go a little bit too far over that line and kill somebody or a couple somebodies? I could see this. He's already a green monster. Let's just push him over the edge a little bit farther. Now, multiple websites have already touched on this, whether it be Collider, Bloody Disgusting, Varieties, I think even touched on it. But the article I'm reading from Collider gave us a synopsis too and a rundown of what this is going to be. They changed a few words around, but basically it's the same premise as the original. Now it says, like the original, telling the folks living in the town below Newville are all terrified of the green-skinned baddie, but for more terrifying reasons than sneaking into their homes, eating their food, and stealing their presents, although all of these things are pretty horrifying too, things come to a head when young Cindy You-Know-Who, played by Crystal Martin, comes home in hopes of healing her past after her parents were brutally slaughtered by the Mean One 20 years ago. Still bloodthirsty, the Mean One is preparing his holiday journey into the town below, ready to continue his bloodshed. So if you play on words, Newville instead of Whoville, and Cindy You-Know-Who instead of Cindy Lou Who, I think this is going to be pretty interesting. I know it's a parody, and it says right in the article it's a parody, so it's going to be a little bit comical in the way that it's done, but I think it's going to be fun. I'm actually looking forward to this. Now, David Howard Thornton, who played Terrifier, is going to be playing the Grinch. So at least he's got some kind of background in horror and that, I want to say that style of character, but I mean, a clown, Grinch monster, I guess we can make it work. Now, although Jim Carrey's The Grinch That Stole Christmas is my all-time favorite Christmas movie ever, I would initially think that turning it into a murderous parody is going to really aggravate me and upset me about it, but strangely enough, like I said, I'm looking forward to this. I'm not expecting to fall in love with it, but I think it's going to be fun. So definitely let me know what your thoughts are on that. And all the other things we've been talking about so far. Hit that like button for me on your way out and the subscribe button if you haven't already. I'm Kevin, and I'll see you at the concession stands.